minimum wage, and they pay some of their campaign people 12 and 10 an hour. Look, there's a meme going around out there about, liberals are hypocrites, and I'm just saying, pointing it out. You got these two Democratic candidates on the top of the Democratic heap, demanding that $15 an hour be the minimum wage nationwide, and yet they're not paying a lot of their workers that minimum standard that they're so loud about. Well, if you think you're going to get something different besides hypocrisy from liberals, and that goes for rhinos in the Republican Party too. If you think you're going to get something different other than hypocrisy, then you are, or you belong in Rush Limbaugh's Ria Linda. And I am for keeping the United States together as a union, but I will compromise on this. If we put all the liberals over in the state of California and then cut California loose and let them hey, you think that you can make a liberal utopia? You got the entire state of California. Have at it and prove it to the rest of us. I guarantee that within a decade, the state will be completely bankrupt. The cities will be in complete disarray, disrepair, lawlessness, rioting everywhere. It'll just be a mess. Guaranteed, within a decade. Guaranteed. Just let them have it. Go for it. California. I'm sorry, Californians out there that are listening to this. You happen to be a conservative on the conservative leaning. I'm going to say you guys have to leave. Yeah, come on, because a lot of liberals are going to go. We're going to push a lot of liberals over there. So there's going to be a lot of openings, housing, jobs, good paying jobs over here towards the east as we throw the liberals over there on the west. So there will be plenty of room for you over here. So you won't be displaced really. You'll have a place to come to. But yeah, I get it all figured. With all the people that say that they're liberal, and they're all following Bernie Sanders or supporting Hillary Clinton, even after all of Hillary Clinton's garbage. Just send them all to California. Say, there you go, have it. Make California the model country for the entire planet. And I guarantee you, within 10 years, once they get there, we got to close the border. We got to, make a border, close it, put a wall off California so they can't bleed over into the rest of the country. I happen to like, the Napa Valley and the orange groves and everything down the Central Valley, but I'm willing to let it go. I'm willing to just so they can have their experiment over there. I'm willing to sacrifice my California wines and my pistachio nuts and good California oranges for that. See, I'm willing to sacrifice. How about you? Look, California wines. I've turned into a wino. California's got some great wines. So, but you know what I found out? There are other places in the country that have some really good. Here in New Hampshire can produce some really good wines, and New York State, believe it or not, has a couple of vineyards that produce some really world-class wines. And if you go to Trader Joe's, you can get French and Italian wines for cheap. You don't got to spend $40-$50 a bottle. You can get it for $10, $15 a bottle. Good stuff. So I can replace the California stuff I like really easy. I'm not worried about that. So I guess evidently that's not a sacrifice after all. But, the pistachio nuts, kind of, the California's got the big... And I happen to like other things that California's big at growing, too. But I can sacrifice that. Just go ahead and let them, make the state into their, have minimum wage $20 an hour. See how they happen. Hey, they might like not having McDonald's and Burger King and Chipotle and all that kind of stuff out there because it'd be too expensive to people buy that food. So that'll make them healthier, right? So let them have at it. Let them have at it. Here, this is from myway.com. And They're writing the story as if it's a shock to everybody, and in some degree, it is going to be a shock for some people, even though they should have known about this because it was already talked about and touted and told about for years now. But now the future, because back in 2009, 2010, 2011, it was the future. That was going to happen way in the future. You don't have to worry about it. It's in the future. Well, the future is now here. And the math is harsh. It's going to be very harsh for some people. The federal penalty for having no health insurance is set to jump to $695, and the Obama administration is being urged to highlight that cold, hard fact to help drive its new pitch for health law signups. That means that the 2016 sign-up season starting November 1st could see penalties become a bigger focus of motivation to millions of people who have remained eligible for coverage but uninsured. They're said to be more skeptical about the value of health insurance, but now, as we've been telling you that it was going to get more and more and more expensive. But at $695 compared to what you're going to be paying for health insurance over a year, that's still a bargain. But most people aren't going to have $695 sitting around to pay the penalty. And they're going to be a little bit, miffed and surprised when that $2,000, refund check from their federal income taxes gets cut by a third. They're going to be saying, well, where'd my money go? Man, I was going to buy a new big screen TV with this thing, with a new car. Where do they take my money? Why do they take my money? And everybody's going to cry about it. I'm saying you can't be shocked by this. You were told about this way back, before Obama was reelected for a second term. You were told about this, and yet and still, you reelected the jackass. Now the bill is coming due. Until now, health overhaul supporters have stressed the benefits of getting covered. Taxpayer subsidies that pay roughly 70% of the monthly premium, financial protections against sudden illness or accident, and access to regular preventive and follow-up medical care. That has got to be the biggest bunch of bogus BS about this. You gotta spread the responsibility. No, it is not my responsibility to pay for somebody else's health care. Now, for those of you, and this goes out to John Kasich of Ohio, governor of Ohio. For those of you who think that it's a Christian thing to do, might I remind you that is BS too. Because Jesus Christ did not call on the government to take care of your neighbor. He called on you to take care of your neighbor. And this idea that, this is a very Christian thing to do. The government's going to, be able to take care of it. No, that is not the government's job. That is not what Christ said. It is very unchristian to take money from somebody else. I understand that Christ said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and give unto God what is God's, and that the money that is printed belongs to Caesar, belongs to the government. Great. But this whole notion that you're supposed to, via your government, take care of the poor, that is not what Christ said. And I need to put that to rest right now, because anybody who gives you that line of BS is not a real Christian. Or they do not understand Christianity, and they do not understand the words of Christ. Christ said you are to take care of your neighbor, you individually, not your government. It is not your government's responsibility to do that. So this whole notion that we have this, all of a sudden we're taking care of the poor who can't take care of themselves because we have Obamacare, is not Christ-like. It's very devilish, as a matter of fact. Because you've got this whole notion, we're just going to take from those who have and give it to those who have not, bypassing the individual, and we're going to determine who's the have-not and who is the have. That is not the government's job. We're supposed to do that on an individual basis. And if you think that you are giving your responsibility to follow the word of Christ to the government, you've got another thing coming. Because Jesus made it perfectly clear. Read your Bible. He made it clear that it was your responsibility, not Caesar, not the government. So, Mr. Kasich of Ohio, you're a damn fool and you're damn wrong, and no, I will not support you for the nomination of the Republican Party. There's another guy who's I've written off my list. I've already got Jeb Bush, Rand Paul, now John Kasich. Gone. Oh, yeah, and Chris Christie. Gone. If they get the nomination, yes, I'm going to reluctantly support them, but they're not my first choice. So this whole notion I can just whittle down by listening to these people talk. This is why I say I just want to listen to what they have to say. All I got to do is wait for these people to talk, and they will trip themselves up and reveal who they really are. Then I can decide, well, I'm not going to support them. While you people who jump on these bandwagons early and go gung-ho to support these guys, and then all of a sudden you learn a little bit later down the line, oh, well, he's not really my guy. Well, you look like a damn fool. That's why you get pissed off at me when I tell you the truth and you go walking out of a meeting or an event where I'm giving a speech because I tell the truth like it is, and I don't care who's listening. Plain and simple. Look, this penalty is only going to go up from here. So now it is going to get to a point where the penalty is going to be as expensive, if not more expensive, than if you were to get the expensive health care. And people are already realizing they can't afford this. Do you realize that health insurance is now at the point where it is rivaling the top three of your living expenses? Now, the most expensive on an annual basis is usually housing. And then the second is usually feeding yourself and your family. And the third is usually transportation. But now that might be rivaled by health care, health insurance. That might displace them. And people are going to have to give up their cars. At least, hey, you want to talk about, how I rail against people who can't afford to send their kid to a private school, but they got new BMWs parked in the driveway. Well, pretty soon you're going to have to get rid of those BMWs just to afford your monthly health insurance premium because you're not going to have a choice. Either you pay it now or you pay the government later. Which do you want? This is why we have to get rid of Obamacare. We have to defund it now and then get a Republican president and a conservative Congress and get rid of it. Just repeal, rip up, and don't replace. Leave it alone. Government does not belong in the health insurance business. Hell, they do such a bang-up job with the VA, right? Why don't we just expand the VA to everyone? Oh, wait. Because the VA sucks. Nobody wants that. And nobody wants Medicare and Medicaid either because that sucks. Yeah, we want to put everybody on it, huh? Well, look, don't say... Look, I've been warning you about this stuff for years. Don't say I didn't warn you, folks. You already know about all this stuff.